Tom, a kind-hearted mechanic in a small town, worked late into the evening repairing cars in his modest garage. It was a stormy afternoon. As he locked up to head home, he noticed a car stranded by the side of the road. A pregnant woman was struggling to fix a flat tire in the pouring rain, her umbrella flipping uselessly in the wind. Without hesitation, Tom pulled over and offered his help. The woman, Rachel, was clearly distressed but grateful for his kindness. Tom reassured her with a warm smile, quickly changing the tire despite the relentless rain. He even refused payment, insisting it was the right thing to do. Rachel thanked him profusely, mentioning she was just passing through town on her way to the hospital. As Tom drove home soaking wet, he thought little of the encounter. To him, it was just another example of helping someone in need, a value he lived by every day. Little did he know, his small act of kindness would ripple into something far greater. For Rachel, this wasn't just a random act of goodwill. It left a lasting impression. 2 days later, Tom was busy in his garage, working on an old truck that had been giving its owner endless trouble. The rhythmic sounds of tools clinking and engines humming were interrupted by a loud, unfamiliar noise. Tom stepped outside and froze in shock. A helicopter was descending onto the empty lot in front of his modest home. Neighbors gathered, curious about the commotion. Tom wiped his grease-streaked hands on his overalls and squinted against the wind from the helicopter's rotors. As the aircraft landed, the door opened, and to his astonishment, Rachel stepped out, dressed in an elegant suit, her demeanor commanding attention. "Tom," she said with a warm smile, walking toward him, "I'm sorry for the dramatic entrance, but I needed to see you." Still confused, Tom asked, "What's this about? Is your car all right?" Rachel chuckled. "The car is fine, thanks to you. But that night, you didn't just fix my car. You reminded me that kindness still exists in the world. I didn't mention it then, but I'm the CEO of Horizon Enterprises, and I owe you more than just a thank you." Tom's heart raced. What could a powerful CEO possibly want with a small-town mechanic? Tom stood stunned as Rachel revealed the true reason for her visit. "Your act of kindness inspired me," she began. "I want to offer you a chance to work with my company, Horizon Enterprises." Tom blinked, trying to process her words. "Me? Work at a corporation like yours? I'm just a mechanic." Rachel's smile didn't waver. "Exactly. Your skills, dedication, and honesty are precisely what we need. I want you to manage a new initiative, a program to train underprivileged youth in mechanical engineering and automobile repair." Tom hesitated. "I've spent my whole life fixing cars in this small town. I wouldn't even know where to begin with something like that." Rachel took a step closer. "We'll provide the resources and support. All I need is your expertise and passion. Think about it. It's a chance to change lives, just like you changed mine that rainy night." Tom's mind raced. The offer was tempting, but it felt too good to be true. Could he really leave the life he knew behind? Before he could answer, Rachel handed him her card. "Take some time to think it over," she said warmly. "But know this, you have the potential to make a difference far beyond this garage." The next few days were a whirlwind of emotions for Tom. He couldn't stop thinking about Rachel's words. As he worked on cars, her proposal echoed in his mind. Could he really take on such a big responsibility? That evening, Tom sat in his small living room, staring at the business card Rachel had left. The idea of working with underprivileged youth tugged at his heart. He knew what it felt like to struggle, to have dreams but lack the means to achieve them. As if on cue, his best friend Joe dropped by. "What's with the long face, buddy?" Joe asked, plopping onto the couch. Tom hesitated, but eventually told him everything. Joe listened intently, then said, "Tom, this is your chance to do something incredible. You've always talked about wanting to help others. Maybe this is how you do it." Encouraged by Joe's words, Tom made a decision. The next morning, he picked up the phone and dialed Rachel's number. When she answered, he said, "I'm in. Tell me where to start." Rachel's excitement was palpable. "Wonderful. I'll send someone to help you get started immediately. Welcome to the team, Tom." Within a week, Tom found himself standing in the gleaming lobby of Horizon Enterprises. He felt out of place in his modest clothing, surrounded by sharply dressed professionals. But Rachel greeted him warmly, putting him at ease. She introduced him to a team of mentors and trainers who would guide him through the process of setting up the program. They discussed the logistics, from finding a suitable location to designing a curriculum. Tom's nerves faded as he realized how much support he had. Rachel also arranged for Tom to visit communities where the program could make the most impact. As he toured neighborhoods and met young people eager for opportunities, his passion grew. He saw himself in their eyes, hopeful yet uncertain about the future. One day, as Tom shared his vision with a group of trainees, Rachel watched from a distance. She saw the way Tom connected with them, his sincerity shining through. He was the perfect choice, she thought to herself. By the end of the week, Tom felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just a job, it was a mission. And for the first time in years, he felt like he was making a real difference. Launching the program wasn't without its hurdles. The first challenge was finding a suitable location. Many of the properties they visited were either too expensive or too run down. Tom grew frustrated, but Rachel encouraged him to keep looking. Finally, they found an old warehouse on the outskirts of town. It was far from perfect, but Tom saw its potential. "With a little work, this could be exactly what we need," he said. Rachel agreed and secured the funding to purchase the property. Renovations began immediately. Tom rolled up his sleeves and worked alongside the construction crew, transforming the dilapidated building into a state-of-the-art training facility. The process was grueling, but seeing the progress motivated him to keep going. Meanwhile, Rachel helped recruit the first batch of trainees. Many of them were skeptical at first, unsure if the program would really help them. But Tom's genuine enthusiasm won them over. "If I can do it, so can you," he told them. The grand opening of the facility was a moment of pride for everyone involved. As Tom stood before the crowd, he felt a swell of emotion. This was more than a program. It was a beacon of hope. The training center buzzed with energy as the first group of trainees settled in. Tom's goal was clear: to teach them practical mechanical skills and instill in them a sense of self-worth and determination. But not everyone was convinced. Some of the trainees, like Ethan, a rebellious teenager with a chip on his shoulder, viewed the program with skepticism. "This is just another way to make us work for nothing," he muttered to his peers. Tom overheard, but chose to approach Ethan calmly. "Ethan, I get it. I've been where you are, unsure if anyone truly cares," Tom said during a break. "But give this a shot. Let's see what you can do." Tom's hands-on approach, coupled with his personal anecdotes, began to chip away at the trainees' doubts. Slowly, the students started to trust him. Ethan, too, began to change. He showed up early, eager to learn, and even started mentoring other trainees. Rachel visited regularly, observing the transformation. She noticed how Tom's passion was contagious, inspiring not just the students but the entire staff. "You're not just teaching skills here, Tom. You're giving them a future," she said one day, her voice full of admiration. For the first time, Tom saw the profound impact of his efforts, and it filled him with pride. Just as the program was gaining momentum, trouble arose. A local politician, sensing an opportunity to score points, began questioning the program's legitimacy. He accused Horizon Enterprises of using the initiative as a tax shelter and implied that the trainees were being exploited. The accusations hit Tom hard. "This isn't about money or politics," he told Rachel during a tense meeting. "It's about giving these kids a chance." Rachel assured him they would fight back. She hired a legal team to address the claims, and reached out to the media to showcase the program's success stories. Tom was reluctant to step into the spotlight, but Rachel insisted. "Your story is the heart of this initiative," she said. A local news segment featured Tom and some of the trainees. Ethan shared how the program had changed his life, and Tom spoke passionately about his vision. The segment struck a chord with viewers, turning public opinion in their favor. Despite the challenges, Tom refused to give up. "We're doing this for the kids," he reminded his team. "No one can take that away from us." One evening, as Tom was wrapping up for the day, a familiar car pulled into the center's parking lot. It was his childhood friend, Joe. "Joe, what are you doing here?" Tom asked, surprised but happy to see him. Joe stepped out, looking around with awe. "I heard about what you're doing here. It's incredible, Tom. I had to see it for myself." The two friends sat in Tom's modest office, reminiscing about their struggles growing up. Joe had always been the more ambitious one, moving to the city to pursue a corporate career. But hearing about Tom's program had made him realize something was missing in his life. "You're making a real difference, Tom. I want to help," Joe said, his tone sincere. Tom hesitated. "You've got your own life, Joe. This isn't easy work." Joe shook his head. "That's exactly why I want to be part of it. Let me help you expand this program. We can reach even more kids." Tom saw the determination in Joe's eyes and agreed. Together, they began planning the next phase of the initiative. With Joe's resources and connections, the possibilities seemed endless. The program's success caught the attention of more than just the local community. One afternoon, as Tom was leading a workshop, Rachel entered the facility with a beaming smile. "We have a special visitor," she announced. To Tom's astonishment, a helicopter landed nearby. Out stepped a man in a sharp suit, none other than the CEO of a major automotive corporation. "Tom, meet Mr. Carter," Rachel said, introducing the executive. "He's heard about your program and wants to see it firsthand." Mr. Carter toured the facility, speaking with trainees and watching Tom in action. He was impressed by the program's impact and the dedication of everyone involved. "I started out as a mechanic too," Mr. Carter shared during a meeting with Tom and Rachel. "I know how much potential this industry holds. I want to invest in this program and help it grow nationwide." Tom was speechless. The offer was beyond anything he'd ever imagined. But he knew it wasn't just about the money. It was about staying true to the program's mission. As he shook Mr. Carter's hand, Tom felt a surge of gratitude. What had started as a simple act of kindness had grown into something far greater than he could have ever dreamed. The partnership with Mr. Carter opened doors Tom hadn't even dared to imagine. With the new funding and resources, the program began to grow. The once modest training center now had advanced tools, dedicated classrooms, and a broader curriculum that included automotive engineering, business skills, and even leadership training. Tom and Joe worked tirelessly to establish new centers in neighboring towns. Each center followed the same core principles: practical skills, mentorship, and instilling hope in those who had lost it. Rachel, ever the strategist, helped craft a campaign that showcased success stories, drawing even more attention and support. Despite the rapid growth, Tom remained hands-on. He visited every new center, ensuring they upheld the values that made the original so special. One of his favorite moments was meeting new trainees and seeing the light of possibility in their eyes. Back at the original center, Ethan had become a leader among the trainees. He helped mentor new recruits, sharing his journey and encouraging them to believe in their potential. "You're proof this program works," Tom told Ethan one day. Ethan grinned. "It's all because you believed in me, Tom." As the program continued to flourish, Tom couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. But he knew there was still so much more to do. With success came scrutiny. As the program expanded, so did the number of critics. Some questioned the sustainability of the initiative, while others accused Tom of profiting from the trainees' work. The media buzz was overwhelming. One particularly harsh article painted Tom as a businessman exploiting a feel-good narrative for personal gain. Tom was hurt, but resolved to address the accusations head-on. Rachel organized a press conference, inviting journalists, community leaders, and program alumni. Tom stood at the podium, his voice steady and full of conviction. "This program isn't about me. It's about the kids who walk through those doors, desperate for a second chance," he said. "Every success story is a reminder of why we started this. And every challenge we face only strengthens our commitment." Ethan and several other trainees spoke, sharing their stories and defending the program. Their heartfelt testimonies silenced many critics and reinforced public support. Mr. Carter also stepped forward, pledging additional funding to ensure the program's longevity. "Tom's vision is inspiring," he said, "and we're here to make sure it continues to change lives." The press conference marked a turning point. Tom realized that with growth came challenges, but the rewards far outweighed the obstacles. The program's reputation began to attract attention on a national level. Organizations across the country reached out, eager to replicate the model. Tom was hesitant at first, worried about losing the personal touch that made the program unique. Joe suggested a solution, a mentorship system. Experienced graduates like Ethan would be trained to oversee new centers, ensuring that the program's core values remained intact. "Think of it as planting seeds," Joe explained. "Each center will grow its own leaders, just like you did here." Tom agreed, and the mentorship system became the backbone of the expansion. Rachel coordinated with community leaders to identify the best locations for new centers, focusing on areas with high unemployment and limited opportunities. The first out-of-state center opened to great success. Local media covered the grand opening, highlighting the program's impact on the community. Tom, Joe, and Rachel celebrated the milestone, but knew there was still more work ahead. As Tom watched the trainees at the new center, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. What had started as a small act of kindness had grown into a movement, and he was determined to see it reach as many lives as possible. One day, Tom received a surprise visit at the original training center. The woman he had helped in the rain, Rachel's sister Emily, walked in with tears in her eyes. "I've been following everything you've done," Emily said. "I can't believe how far you've come." Tom smiled. "It wouldn't have happened without your sister believing in me." Emily had brought her husband and children, who eagerly toured the facility. She was overwhelmed with gratitude for Tom's kindness and the impact it had on her sister and so many others. "You changed my life that night," Emily said, "and now you're changing so many more." Tom was humbled. He realized that every act of kindness, no matter how small, had the potential to create a ripple effect. That evening, he gathered his team and shared the story of how it all began. "This is why we do what we do," he said. "To change lives, one act of kindness at a time." Years later, the program had become a nationwide movement, transforming countless lives. Tom had stepped back from daily operations, passing the torch to a new generation of leaders. Ethan, now a respected mentor, ran the original center and continued Tom's legacy. Tom spent his days visiting centers and sharing his story, inspiring others to believe in the power of kindness and determination. The initiative had become more than just a training program. It was a symbol of hope for those who had lost their way. One evening, as Tom sat on his porch, watching the sunset, Rachel joined him. "Look at what you've built," she said, pride evident in her voice. Tom shook his head. "We built it together, and it all started with a simple act of kindness." As the stars came out, Tom felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The journey had been challenging, but it was worth every moment. His story was proof that even the smallest actions could lead to extraordinary change, and that kindness, when nurtured, had the power to transform the world.